Need to make a sincere apology if you hear any crashing around in the background. It's his fault. Salutations, nerds. I'm Rick Y, the wise guy. And today is December 5th, 2024, and today, new data is coming out as far as the cuts that Donald Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, a meme and cryptocurrency, is going to enforce. This is a government entity that, with so far no actual oversight, so tracking real raw data can be kind of daunting. So for the intents of this video in particular, I'm just going to have to go by the words of the current leader. Leaders. Normally there are two heads of any government office, so I'm not sure how it will play out, but Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk have both come together to head this new system. And I'm going to tell you what it is, what it does, and what they plan on using it for, because I'm fairly certain a lot of you didn't vote for this. Even if you did, in fact, vote for Donald Trump. So if you're into Americana history and random news updates, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm only trying to help make the world a better place by being a conduit of information from where I am and from who I am, and I would be much obliged if you would do the same. And please share the content that you like to hear. So, DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency, is somewhat of an enigma, as it isn't a real government agency. And therefore, that doesn't require them to have the same oversight as other institutions. And as far as I know, I don't even think they're subject to Senate confirmation, which is in itself kind of an alarming fact, given the sweeping responsibilities that it has been tasked with. The aim is admittedly a noble one, as on paper, it aims to cut excess government spending so as to reduce waste. It makes sense. I mean, if you work in a private sector job, consider it like a fraud, waste, and abuse department just for the government. The only difference being insofar that there isn't any real guidelines beyond two billionaires cutting programs that they don't like. Now, don't get me wrong. Personally, I think some cutting would be beneficial. I have actually been advocating for cutting certain things since the early 2000s. But you see, as much as I think that would help with efficiency, I also believe personally that it needs to be approached with a scalpel and a surgeon, and not a hatchet wielded by a guy who writes about how much he enjoys blood on his social media accounts. And you see, I'm not alone on this. There are plenty of people on both the left and the right sides of the political spectrum who will make the same case, although arguments may differ from person to person. For example, while many libertarian and conservative folks claim they just want to spend fewer taxes on things that they don't personally agree with because they don't feel it either affects them, they see it as waste. But they've also been convinced by people like the billionaires in charge of this new government function to help further make them rich through tax breaks and tax cuts. And that's the cool thing to do. But that's a can of worms that I honestly, it deserves its own video, so I'm just going to hold off on my feelings there. But then there are more like liberal people who also feel the same way, that cutting can be done so to better address underprivileged or underserved corners of our communities, like schools, wages for first responders and teachers. Those could go up. Infrastructure projects, or affordable or even free healthcare. Meanwhile, you have centrists who are just like, I'm with you, fellers. So at this juncture, the United States is actually in kind of an interesting position where we have two different polar sides agreeing about the same goal, but can't seem to agree about the methodology. This happens with a lot of issues. But what we all want to see is some government cuts, but we don't all agree on how or who should be cut and what or who it should benefit. So it's not really a surprise to learn that so many Americans chose a populist who promoted to do just that very thing. And in turn, we got Trump, who thought it wise to let two people who've historically never stopped at stripping money from those who need it in order to make themselves more wealthy take the helm of this program. Well, good luck to us. Now, who are these individuals? Vivek Ramaswamy, I love saying it like that, who, when not working on his illustrious rap career, was found working for a hedge fund or working for his company, Roivant Sciences, wherein they didn't develop medicines, rather they purchased patents that were already developed, chemicals, and they marketed them. And it isn't unlike the man who hired him, and then he took what others had made and slapped his name on it and sold it. After that first soiree failed, when its major investment in a drug called Interpidine failed and lost 75% of its company value in a single day, the medicine was scrapped. Good idea. The company that developed the drug, Axovant, tried to become some kind of gene therapy organization in the following years, but then they just eventually dissolved. Clearly needing a better source of income, Ramaswamy turned to China and their state-owned investment company, CITIC, to absorb all of those losses. Luckily, they took the opportunity and formed Sinovant. He really digs that suffix Vant for some reason. There are like 6 subsidiaries that all ended in Vant with him. Anyways, he also personally made $175 million in capital gains on the sale of that deal with the Chinese government, pocketing around $22 million. Okay, so like your average working guy, you know. What about the other one? Elon Musk. He's probably less in need of an introduction. But as a lowdown for those who aren't really aware of his bio and his history, the man got rich after using money that his father gave him to create the American company called Zip2. It was like a Yellow Pages for businesses. He sold that company to the Compaq Computer Corporation in 1999, and he got $307 million out of that deal. If you're curious about whether that was a smart decision, Zip2 is now worth $53 billion. He also co-founded PayPal, and then, to the excitement of all nerds, I think everywhere, he founded SpaceX. This is a platform he could throw way more money into rockets and space travel and mistakes than the government was willing to. And you can thank Congress for that one. But at the same time, he threw a lot of money at a lot of failures. Of course, we learned from those failures, and now we have some pretty cool rockets. But I digress. Many people say he started Tesla, but like Ramaswamy and Trump, that was one of those companies he just kind of threw money at and then put his name on. The premise had already been in the works, but it needed cash. He became their CEO in 2008, which helped in building the idea that he somehow created it himself. Basically, his true genius isn't science and tech, or business administration, or management, but rather in investment. He's an investor who made some unique and admittedly interesting financial moves in the past decades. And to his credit, he doesn't seem anywhere near as hesitant to inflate money into research and development projects. And admittedly, I am a fan of SpaceX, but not Musk himself, while also being able and willing to admit that his contributions monetarily have helped humanity in a lot of ways. Guess what, people? You don't need to live in a false dichotomy. A bunch of different conflicting opinions can all exist at once. He's a strange man and a complicated matter for the government, given his hateful rhetoric towards the trans community in particular, and his own damn child. He is also a polarizing figure, to say the least. I don't like him. Now that you know the everyday average American billionaire investors who will be driving this clown car, let's explore what it is, shall we? The Department of Government Efficiency was named after a cryptocurrency that started as a joke. It eventually became what is now the first meme coin. It was made sarcastically and as such has become a wild success. Task failed successfully. The logo is of a Shiba Inu, which is an ungodly adorable dog, and it is also the cryptocurrency that Elon Musk has been hyping forever. And he has some weird affinity for the meme itself, so why not name your new government commission after your favorite internet joke? I mean, you've already named your vehicle models the Model S, the Model 3, and the Model X, so that they all spell out sex, or launching said vehicles into the depths of the cosmos. So, why not? Now, this government entity will dig deep into excessive spending and slash budgets that seem unnecessary in their eyes. Keep in mind, this is not to spend the tax dollars in other programs or knock down the U.S. debt. No, this is going to go towards tax benefits for people in their tax bracket. Like if you're making underneath $400,000 per year, your taxes are going nowhere but up. In fact, the tax breaks you got from Trump's first administration are now going to turn over. So you're going to see the results of that here soon. Make sure you blame him. But this is good, right? I mean, the Pentagon just failed its 7th consecutive audit. There are clearly some things that could use some actual, legitimate attention to save money. I can absolutely agree with that. So what programs are on the chopping block? What are we going to save some money on, huh? Is it that bloated Department of Defense as I just mentioned? Nope. Veterans Healthcare, National Institute for Health, Pell Grants, and Head Start are just to name a few. They're aiming at government programs that improve the health and well-being of our lowest earners and slashing medical care for those of us who deployed into harm's way for this country. They're going to take health care, college grants, and food from poor kids. Now, this is also the moment I want you all to remember if you had ever lectured anyone about spending money for any reason because you were so concerned with homeless veterans. This is your time. Right now. Donald Trump is going to steal from the poor so that he can give to the rich. And what's worse, none of this should be a shock. The only policy that he has ever tried to distance himself from was Project 2025. And that's back to, baby. So when DOGE's leader, Musk, again, a billionaire who is never worried about any form of insecurity in his entire life, was asked what he would say to those who have tremendous concerns with the cost of living as it is, and now their basic needs will be taken from them as well, he responded that they'll just have to deal with the hardships. Two dipshits who couldn't handle a week of boot camp, let alone deploy into an active combat situation, are now going to slice up the healthcare that we give to our veterans for having served their country honorably. And this is at the height of recruitment issues. Now we're going to say to them, and when you come back from war, you can go kick rocks. Vivek and investors need a little tax dollars. Look, I get it. You were angry. We're all angry. But voting against the interests of everyone, to include yourself, because you have an issue tolerating what? Woke? Wedge issues? Starting to feel like you kind of got played, doesn't it? And if you're pissed, good, get pissed. They manipulated you to enrich themselves, and they're laughing about it. They're with a federal agency run by wealthy dude bros with a meme. It's all a joke to them. So on top of the family and friends they've alienated from you, they're now taking you for the ride. And you should be pissed, as you probably are. But that's why I constantly remind you at the end of these videos, because I really want you to take it to heart, that you need to stay involved, stay engaged, and stay decent. Until next time, deuces.